Hello, this is Leila speaking, dietitian and founder from Dietitian Your Way, a directory for registered dietitian nutritionists, where our top priority is to help clients get the attention and nutrition care they deserve from educated, skilled, and vetted dietitians. And today I have with me Diana Mesa from En La Mesa Nutrition, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about her private practice and everything she has going on with her business. So without further ado, Diana, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Leila. Yes, that's right. I have a private practice named En La Mesa Nutrition based in South Florida. It's a virtual private practice where I help people from diverse backgrounds honor their health through their cultural foods and also heal that relationship with food and their bodies. I also offer recipe development and content creation for a variety of platforms, and I offer group programs, I offer one-to-one counseling, and I offer one-to-one programs as well.
I love that. I feel that dietitians are so multifaceted. We have so many things going on. And I think that, the recipes, the group counseling, it's amazing everything that we can do and how we can affect the public. So to begin with, can you tell us a little bit about your journey of being a dietitian and how you became to be the founder of En La Mesa Nutrition?
Definitely. So I originally started my career in architecture right after high school. But that didn't go as planned. I took, a few years off here and there. And finally I was like, okay, architecture is not for me. It's not making me happy to sign up for classes for next semester. So I instead took kind of like a light semester. I took a math class and I took a nutrition class, and I excelled at the nutrition class and also the math class, surprisingly. But all of that to say is that I kind of stumbled on it, and it turns out that I really enjoyed it. I never thought. Both my parents have medical backgrounds, so I always kind of fought against
That's funny.
going that way. But alas, here we are. And one of the things I love, just to kind of piggyback off of what you said, is that I get to put my creative juices, because that's the piece of the architecture that I really love, just to build, to create. And I can do the same thing with dietetics, because there's so many different things that we can do.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think there's a lot of different avenues that we can take as dietitians. So tell us a little bit about your business. What kind of things do you offer, and what kind of population do you work with?
Yeah, definitely. Here in South Florida, it's a pretty diverse crowd. It's a lot of Latinos. A lot of Latinos with diabetes. I'm a diabetes care and education specialist, so that's really sort of what I'm most passionate about. Although a lot of those folks also have other chronic conditions that they're wanting to manage, such as, GERD or IBS or, I don't know, heart disease, kidney disease. So that's usually, a lot of people also come to me just for general wellness and prevention. And on a non-medical nutrition therapy side, they come to me to work on their relationship with food and their body and to heal disordered eating patterns. So we work from a weight-inclusive lens, which basically means, and I know you know this, Leila, but for the audience.
You probably don't know this, yeah.
Yeah, for the audience, it basically means that I believe that health can be achieved at any weight, and that it's not, the cause for disease.
Right.
And we can de-center weight loss in our sessions and still improve all of those things that we want to work on, like sleep and stress management and, the way we move and eat.
I 100% agree. And talking about diversity, because I know Miami is pretty diverse. I'm from Miami as well. Tell me a little bit about, how diversity has affected you as a dietitian, a Latina dietitian.
Definitely. Well, so we know that there are barriers to higher education for Latinos and other marginalized people. So that's in and of itself a barrier. I'm grateful that I got into dietetics before the master's requirement, because
me too.
I don't have a master's degree.
Yeah,
exactly.
Same.
And I think it's kind of silly considering they're not paying more for it.
Yeah,
nor are you
that's a
really
whole nother
learning.
topic, but yes, I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one of the barriers, I think, as being a Latina dietitian. I think it's also come in handy to some extent because it has gotten me into certain positions that, because they're looking for a diverse
Right.
person, they
Same.
will opt for, a Latina. And so, maybe they want to learn about Hispanic foodways, then they would probably look toward a Latina dietitian. And that has opened a lot of doors for me, absolutely. But in the same breath, there's also the sort of token Latina or token
Right.
BIPOC individual,
Right.
um, where although you have some visibility like in the company picture,
Right.
it doesn't mean that you're getting the respect, and
A
you're
hundred
not your
percent.
voice is not being upheld in the
100%.
actual
Yeah.
organization.
Yeah, I
So
think I
double-edged sword.
Yeah, I think I have the same type of experiences too, especially working in the corporate world. You see a lot of us who, really strive to help patients and people, of color and people who are look just like us, right? But, when you look at the hierarchy and you look at people who are, above us, who are the directors and stuff, we really don't get seen. And I think that's, part of the reason why it's so important for us to be seen, right? Is for us to actually be leaders in those positions to help us and help our people of color.
1,000%.
Mhm. I agree. And so, talking about dietetics in general, what trends do you see emerging in the field of nutrition and dietetics in the coming years?
Well, I definitely see more weight inclusive care coming.
Yeah,
I think, this past year at Fancy, the audience wanted less weight centric information. And I saw a lot of people challenging the status quo there.
yeah,
So that was really the opposite of disheartening, I guess, heartening.
yeah. And for people who don't know what Fancy is a food and nutrition conference expo for dietitians. So all dietitians go to these. It's one conference once a year
Yeah.
that we go to get educated and get acquainted with the information that's being upheld in dietetics during that year.
Exactly. So I think that you can really pick up on trends there because if the presenters aren't presenting on it, the audience is asking questions on it. And I saw a lot of that. I saw a lot of audience members asking a lot of great questions,
That's
and the
awesome.
questions are upvoted. So the other audience members who have similar questions can upvote. And a lot of
Oh,
them were weight inclusive stuff. So
very cool.
it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
And so, as dietitians, a lot of us are in that sphere, right, of being weight centric. What barriers do you see when talking to customers or clients when we talk about these topics?
Yeah, I think it's only normal for people to want to lose weight in the society that we exist within, no matter what size you are, because that's the messaging that a lot of people are
Yeah.
receiving everywhere they look, even at the doctor's office. So I think that that's a big barrier in sort of selling this perspective because people, when they think of nutritionist or dietitian, they think of, the skinny blonde girl who's
Yeah.
going to weigh you every
Yeah.
time, every week, measure around your
Right.
waist, and give you some food models. And so the idea of what health looks like is
Hmm.
brown rice, broccoli, and a lightly
Chicken breast.
dusted chicken breast.
Yeah.
Exactly, just like
Yeah.
um, and so when they hear these concepts about, hey, you can have health at any size. You
Hmm.
don't have to lose weight. The result doesn't have to be focused on weight loss in order for you to feel
Right.
better. It's confusing to them a lot of times. They feel like I don't know what I'm talking about, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, and then there's some
Yeah.
people who are ready for it. There's some people who are already sort of tapped into this on social media, or and so there's that perspective too.
Yeah. I think the big part too in the Latinx community is that, we know that we don't look like what you just mentioned, which is a typical, like, slender, slim, small hips. Like, we don't look the part, right? So there's a lot of different body shapes, and not just in our culture, but in various different cultures, right? And I think that's a big concept that our society has yet to grasp, is that like, hey, we all come in different shapes and forms. It doesn't mean that one is healthier than the other. And for some reason, our society has equated that to being like, okay, like because you are skinny, you are healthy, right? And that's just really not the correct information, right?
Exactly. It's definitely not that straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it were, we've been sort of lied to for decades about how realistically attainable it is.
Yeah, I
So, people tend to, especially here in Miami, where it's a very, what's a politically correct way to say this? A
so many
very
ways to describe Miami.
an aesthetic oriented city. They really are about aesthetics.
Yes.
They value that final product more than the process and the learning experience and the real like internal
Mm-hmm.
change to get there. And so a lot of people are looking for that quick fix. And
Yeah.
there's so many options out there
Yeah,
for that quick
especially in
fix.
Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So with that being said, what are some successes that you've had with customers or clients in the past?
Well, I mean, my favorite type of successes are when they start off sort of hyperfixated on how certain foods are going to impact their health and they don't really know what to do. And then at the end of our 3-month program, which is probably one of my more popular services,
Yeah.
our one-on-one 3-month program is at the end, they feel empowered, they feel confident, they feel like they can trust their body and their
Yeah.
choices, and that they don't have to question every single food choice because throughout the process they've really learned what foods are going to help them, or
Right.
and the stress and anxiety around, oh my gosh, the guilt, the shame around I ate a burger
Right.
goes away. I mean, maybe it doesn't go away 100% of the time, but it definitely
Right.
decreases significantly. And
Right.
I actually use a little bit of a tool to kind of measure that. And so at 3 points throughout the 3-month program, once a month, we sort of do a check-in. I have 3 or 4 questions that I like to ask to gauge where they are on a scale of 1 to 5. And so that way at the end, we can really compare where we started at and where we finished.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and there's like a real tangible change. It's usually like a 2, like if they started at a 2, they might be at a 4 by the time that we're done in 3 months.
Wow. That's really, really good. And it's so important for us to feel empowered in our own food choices, right? I think a lot of the times we see patients or customers that are confused, like you said, very confused. And it's unfortunate because nutrition is so important to somebody's quality of life, right? And the whole reason, for Dietitian Your Way was to provide, people like yourself who can help and who can really bust the myths that are out there, right? Whereas a lot of, people who aren't dietitians, maybe spreading those rumors and making it worse for the customer's head, right? Mindset.
Absolutely. And all of that fear mongering, all it does is create anxiety around food.
Right.
Confusion around food, like you mentioned, and just this general fear where every choice is like a life or death decision. Like everything is poison, and it's like, it's not that serious. It really isn't.
Right.
And so I think a lot of the, like one of my favorite successes are that aha moment when they're like, oh my gosh, so you mean the non-organic blueberries aren't going to end my
Yeah.
life?
I agree. No, that's awesome. Okay, so anything else that you want to share with us about your business, your private practice, being a dietitian, anything else?
Sure. Yeah. I'm also expanding my services into workplace wellness and professional training for organizations and groups. For example, training doctors, nurses, health
Nice.
educators in diabetes care, standards of care in diabetes,
Love
culturally
it.
responsive nutrition as well. I think that that's a really key learning point that a lot of the medical community still needs to catch on to. And so that's one of the newest offerings that I'm offering. And so I'm really excited about that, because it means that if we can get doctors and nurses and community
Mm-hmm.
health workers on board, nutrition educators on board with this message, then everybody's going to really benefit at every touch point, from not from decreasing the shame around eating our cultural foods and
Right.
highlighting the nutritional benefits. And that's going to make health disparities decrease over time. I think that's my hypothesis.
No, it's mine too, actually. So you're not alone. No, I totally 100% agree with you. I think that doctors and physicians and nurses are frontline workers, and they're the people who are referring, patients to us. So if they can be, part of the solving that problem, right, it would be even more helpful for us and for patient care and for quality of care. Because I think a lot of patients go into their physician's offices and, they dread getting weighed, right? They dread like having to be told that, our cultural foods are not okay, right? And I think, people like yourself who are trying to combat that stigma, right, is so, so important, because our cultural foods are a part of who we are. It's a part of our growing up. It's a part of family gatherings, and so there is no going away with it. And there really shouldn't be having to fear these foods or having to shame ourselves for eating those foods, right? Because they're just as healthy as chicken and white rice and brown rice and broccoli.
Exactly. And sometimes even more nutritious, I mean, if you think about all of the different ways that we include all these quote unquote superfoods in our
Yeah.
heritage meals, things that we've been eating, our family's been eating for centuries.
Right.
Now it's being coined as superfoods, but we
Right.
know
Right.
this.
Avocado.
Exactly, quinoa.
Chia seeds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Exactly.
No, that's awesome. I love the work that you're doing. You are so versatile. You're doing everything, right? So you're trying to hit the doctors, you're trying to hit the customers. You're also have a really cool book out that I want to show people. So I'm going to bring up your profile. And if you don't mind just walking us through this profile, it'd be
Absolutely.
awesome. So give me just
Absolutely.
1 second. Let me pull it up. All right. Here we go. Look at this. I love that picture.
Thank you. There I am. There she is.
All right. So it says bilingual Latina weight inclusive dietitian and diabetes educator. Walk us through your profile.
Yeah, sure. I can't see it that well from where I'm standing. Oh, there you go. That's better.
Okay.
So yes, what do I offer? What kind of services I offer? Well, I offer virtual services, telehealth. So the portal that I work with has a platform where we can see each other, and we can also chat through there. It's all HIPAA protected. I actually offer 20-minute discovery calls.
Nice.
So little 5 extra minute freebie there for you, because I really want to make sure that we're a good fit. And that I'm meeting your needs. Let's see, what else? Services offered. I mentioned my one-to-one session. So I offer individual sessions if you don't want to commit for 3 months, or maybe if you want something that's less frequent than the cadence of the 3-month program. But definitely by far the most popular program that I offer is the one-to-one Deja la Dieta program.
Ooh, nice.
It's a
Love
90-day.
the title.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That's my little catchphrase, Deja la Dieta.
Which means ditch the diet in English.
It
Sorry.
does. It means ditch the diet. No, thank you. Sometimes I automatically assume everybody understands what that means. I appreciate that. So yeah, it means ditch the diet, and it's a 3-month program where we build your nutrition foundation and build that self-efficacy, so that at the end you can enjoy your cultural foods while still honoring your health. Let's see. I speak Spanish. I also speak a little bit of Italian.
Ooh.
I probably, hold a conversation, but let's not advertise that.
It's one of the languages I've been meaning to speak for a while, so I'm gonna have to talk to you outside.
Yes, Duolingo helped me. a lot. So definitely helpful. So who do I serve? So it's typically adults. I'm not a specialist with kids, so I will work with kids, but it's not sort of my specialty. And I would probably refer you to somebody that specializes in childhood nutrition. So I work mostly with adults, anyone over the age of 18, all the way to 85 or, older age, and sort of geriatric nutrition as well. Let's see. Sorry, it's getting a little
Oh,
close
that's
and
okay.
hard to see.
I'll read off for you. So the communities that you're allied with are bisexual allied, body positivity. There's a lot of different things here, but the
Yeah,
profile is pretty
I'm an
nice.
yeah, I'm an ally for everyone. So
Yeah, yeah. I think it's definitely a advantage growing up in Miami, right? I feel like we're thrown into a variety of different cultures and different ways of life.
exactly. So I'm very open-minded and always willing to learn new things and ask questions. Um, so pretty
Very
much
nice.
my profile is just a reiteration of everything that you already know about me.
Her specialties listed out. And then I wanted to go over your product, which I was looking at earlier. I'm like, this is exactly what we need. This is a great product here.
Thank you so much. Yes, and I have it in English and Spanish.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
yes, so if you want it in Spanish, you can have it in Spanish. It's good for both providers and for patients. So
Okay.
it's made so that providers who aren't familiar with Latin American foodways can kind of look at it and adapt it to, a sort of United States way approach,
Yeah,
with the diabetes plate as the
I love
foundation.
it.
But it also features foods from that culture. So for Cuba, we have like rice and beans with, pork, and a salad with avocado and cabbage
You
and
make me
tomatoes.
hungry now.
Yeah, and that's a typical Cuban meal, right? But there's this misconception that we can't have those foods and still honor our health, but we absolutely can.
I love it. I
Got
love
some
it.
worksheets too at the end, so
Ooh,
you
nice.
can print it out, give it to your patient, or if you are the patient, you can reuse them. So it's great.
That's such an important piece. The making sure that you're putting the patient or the doctor, whoever is reading it, to actually work through the problem, right? Because I think it's really easy to kind of read something and be like, yeah, I got it, but then it's like you got to put it into practice, right? So I think that's a great thing that you have there is you're making them put it into practice immediately after they read it.
Exactly.
Let's look at your website. Let me see if it shows up. Here we go.
There it
I
is.
love this. I love the colors. So nice.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's the link straight to the Better Blood Sugars book, but you can also just like visit the shop and you'll see that there's the Spanish version on there, and there's also some merch. I
Oh,
offer
cute.
yeah, I offer a little mug. It says "Oye chica, deja la dieta," which
I
means
love it. This is
it
so
just means, "Hey
cute.
girl, ditch the diet." Um, so
Love.
perfect for like a little morning coffee. And then a popular one is the tote bag. The tote bag says it's like a thank you bag, but it says "Deja la dieta," and I have it in canvas and
Oh, I
black.
love it. I like the black and green one. This is super
Yeah,
cute.
people seem to love this one.
Really?
Yeah, it's a popular one. I guess people just like totes, dietitians and tote bags.
Yes. And water bottles and chapsticks.
Oh yeah, we love them.
Okay, cool. So any advice that you would give to aspiring dietitians, like, RDTBs, entering the field of dietetics?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on what you want to do within the field of dietetics, but if you really want to, do something a little bit different that's not clinical, which I knew from the beginning that I did not want to do clinical work for my whole dietitian career. Get yourself out there, try new things, see what you like, see what you're good at. Because you may not know that you're extremely skilled at recipe development until you try it, or that you can, create great nutrition content. So get yourself out there, have a voice, have a unique point of view, and always challenge everything that you learn. Don't just take its word for it, really do your research, because there's a lot of information that we learn in our training that isn't really applicable in real life. And that it's from a perspective that doesn't include us all.
Very well said. I 100% agree. Very nice. I love seeing people of color who are becoming dietitians. I think when I was in school 10 years ago, which is kind of crazy, I think it was just me and another person that was Latina.
Yeah.
Out of like a class of like 30, 40 people.
Yeah. I mean, here in Miami. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I just see the field changing as the years come by. We're becoming more specialized. We're also becoming a little bit more diverse, which is good to see.
I totally agree. And I was just going to say, here in Miami, I went to FIU, and luckily it was pretty diverse, but it didn't stop the curriculum from making us as diverse individuals question our own food.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty problematic. I think you really got to be confident in knowing that your foods are nutritious, because there's a lot of information and a lot of people out there who say that they aren't.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're people that hold positions of power and their voices are really elevated. So,
Oh, we got knocked off for a second, but that's okay. No, I 100% agree. I love what you're doing here, and I think it's such a great just stance and great information that you're putting out to the world. And hopefully little by little, people like you are going to change the stigmas that we have in our culture and are going to really make a difference to how people view our culture and our foods and so forth. So
thank you. I appreciate that. That means
last but not least, what is your favorite dish to eat?
Oof, that's a really complicated one. I love so many. I have so many favorite dishes. Like, I mean, if you want a dish from my culture that's my favorite, it's probably picadillo.
Okay.
What
is picadillo for those who don't know?
Yes, picadillo is a Cuban-style ground beef, and we make it with our sofrito, which is olive oil, onion, garlic, and green bell pepper. And we add all sorts of herbs and spices like bay leaf and cumin and oregano with some tomato sauce, potatoes. We put potatoes in there too. Yeah. It's really good. Some people put raisins. I don't.
Yeah, my mom does actually. I'm not Cuban, but we have our own kind of picadillo. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and you're gonna see it in a lot of countries because it's a pretty popular, like, straightforward dish. But yeah, it's definitely picadillo. If not, it's sushi. I love sushi.
Yeah. What kind of sushi? I feel like there's so many kinds.
Gosh, okay. I love just like the nigiri. I love conch and octopus. There's this like any kind of whitefish. There's this one place that offers this like really good sea bream with like a little bit of yuzu kosher on top. I'm a sushi
You're like
nerd.
Salivating right now.
Yeah, I worked at sushi restaurants for like 10 years before I decided to go and study dietetics.
Did you get free food while you were working? Because I feel like you should have. Okay.
Lots. I love like crispy rice, spicy tuna. That's my favorite dish. So yeah, I could go on forever, but I love to try new and different things. I don't like things that are too fishy, but you know.
Yeah, I feel like with dietitians, I think a lot of us are foodies. And I think that's a huge stigma that we're just like, healthy eaters all around and all we eat is like kale and stuff. And it's a total opposite.
Yeah.
I think if you want a good recommendation for a restaurant, ask a dietitian and they'll lead you in the right way.
1,000%. Yeah, that's why I went into food. I also, I guess I should have said that in my introduction, but yeah, while I was working and going to school, while I was going to school, I was also working as a waitress at different sushi and like Asian infused restaurants.
Nice.
So that like really grew my love for food and my appreciation for different cultural foods. And here I am now. So
yeah,
it goes to show that all skills are transferable.
Yes, 100%. I agree. I feel like that's how I've been able to get this far.
Yeah,
just by that. Well, any last word before we end our session?
If you're looking to where to find me, you can find me on Instagram. It's at En La Mesa Nutrition, just like my bottom caption there.
Nice.
And you can also find me at www.enlamesanutrition.com. So it's pretty consistent. You can also just Google me, and it'll take you to my pages. So I'm excited to connect with any clients who may be feeling really, really excited after watching this, and any dietitians that might see an opportunity for collaboration or simply just getting to know each other because you feel like we're vibing.
Nice. Thank you so much, Diana. I appreciate this 100%. I'm so excited for people to see you and get to know you better, and excited for everything to come in the future for you.
Thank you so much, Lila. I'm excited to, take advantage of Dietitian Your Way. I think that's such a necessary platform. So
I
thank you.
appreciate that. Yeah, so hopefully we can get some more people on here, and that's pretty much it. That's a wrap. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for the people who are watching or listening. Make sure you hit the like button, the follow button on whatever platform you are listening in on or watching.